Last night while you were asleep, someone walked into your dream. Maybe it was your old teacher. Maybe a stranger from the coffee shop. Maybe someone you haven't thought about in years. But here's the thing. Your brain did not invent that face. It never has. Not once. Not in your entire life. Every person who has ever appeared in your dreams is someone you have seen before, in real life, in a photo, or on a screen. Most people find that hard to believe. The obvious explanation is that your sleeping brain is just creative, mixing up memories and making new people. But that's not what's happening. And the real answer reveals something deeply strange about how your brain works every second you're awake. Let's start with what your brain actually does with every face it encounters, because that is where this story begins. Your brain has an entire region dedicated to nothing but recognizing faces. It's called the fusiform face area, and it sits in your temporal lobe. In 1997, neuroscientist Nancy Canwisher at MIT published a landmark study showing this region fires specifically and powerfully in response to faces, not objects, not places. Faces only. Your brain treats every face it sees as high-priority information and encodes it automatically, whether you want to or not. You don't choose to store a face. The storage happens automatically. Every cashier, every face on a billboard, every actor in a commercial you watched for 30 seconds at age 9. All of them. Researchers estimate you can recognize roughly 5,000 faces over a lifetime, and that number may be far higher for people raised in dense urban environments. A 2018 study by researchers at the University of York found that the average person could recognize 5,000 faces, and some people topped 10,000. 10,000 faces, stored, indexed, retrievable. And when you dream, your brain pulls from that library, not from imagination. But here's what's fascinating. The face in your dream is often not a perfect copy. Your brain composites. It blends elements from multiple stored faces into one. That's why dream people sometimes feel familiar but slightly off, like a version of someone you know with slightly wrong details. This compositing is not a glitch. It's a feature. Your sleeping brain is doing something extraordinarily sophisticated. In 2019, neuroscientist Penelope Lewis at Cardiff University argued that the sleeping brain actively reorganizes memories, not just replays them. It's not a movie playback, it's active editing. During REM sleep, the stage where most dreaming happens, your brain's visual cortex activates almost as strongly as when you're actually awake and looking at something. Your visual system doesn't know the difference between a dream face and a real one. That's why dream people feel so vivid and real. But now here is where this gets genuinely strange. You see faces constantly, far more than you consciously register. In a single commute through a city, you might pass 200 to 600 faces without consciously looking at any of them. Your fusiform face area processed every single one, subconsciously, automatically, without your permission. Research in perceptual psychology shows your brain begins categorizing a face as a face within 100 milliseconds of seeing it, 1/10 of a second. That's faster than you can decide to look at something. This is why faces from your past show up in dreams years later. You stored them automatically without knowing it, and they've been in your library ever since. But that's only half the story. There's a second question hiding inside the first. Not just where do dream faces come from, but why does your brain bother with faces at all? The answer goes back about 2 million years. Humans are extraordinarily social animals, more social than almost any other species on Earth. For most of human evolutionary history, your survival depended on correctly reading the faces of the people around you. Is this person safe? Are they angry? Are they lying? Getting that wrong could get you killed. So your brain evolved to be obsessively good at faces, to the point where it sees faces in clouds, in toast, in wood grain. Scientists have a name for that, pareidolia. Your brain would rather see a face that isn't there than miss one that is. The cost of a false positive is low. The cost of missing a real face was potentially your life. Evolution doesn't care about accuracy. It cares about survival, and now here's where it connects back to your dreams. Because during REM sleep, your brain doesn't switch off its face processing machinery. It cranks it up. In 2011, neuroscientist Matthew Walker at UC Berkeley found that during REM sleep, the brain replays emotionally significant memories more intensely than neutral ones. Faces are the most emotionally tagged memories you have, so your sleeping brain gravitates towards them. And here is the part almost nobody quotes. Your brain isn't replaying faces just to replay them. It's running social simulations. It's rehearsing social scenarios, running through how people might react, what a conversation might feel like, what a threat might look like. Researchers call this the social simulation theory of dreaming. Finnish researcher Antti Revonsuo first proposed it in 2000, and the evidence has only grown since. The idea is that dreaming evolved as a safe practice arena for social cognition. When you dream about your boss confronting you, your brain is not predicting the future. It is practicing your response to social threat. Think about that. The unsettling dream you had about an argument, that was maintenance. Your brain running diagnostics on your social world, the stranger who walked through your dream last week, your brain was testing how you read an unfamiliar face. And the person from years ago who suddenly appeared, your brain flagged them as unresolved, still relevant to your social model of the world. Which brings us to the last and strangest piece. The faces that appear most in your dreams are not random. Studies consistently show that around 48% of dream characters are people the dreamer knows personally. About 35% are people the dreamer has no conscious recognition of at all. Strangers, but stored. Absolutely stored. Those strangers came from somewhere. A waiting room, a bus stop, a YouTube video you barely watched. Your brain cataloged them without your consent. And the most frequently occurring faces in your dreams are the people you interact with most in waking life. Your partner, your coworkers, your closest friends, the people your brain has decided matter most to your social survival get the most processing time at night. Your dreaming mind is running a social audit every single night. And here's what that means for you right now. The average person spends roughly 2 hours per night in REM sleep. That's about 730 hours per year. That's 730 hours your brain spends running social simulations using the faces in its library. If you've lived to 70, that's roughly 51,000 hours of face-based social rehearsal while you slept. Think about how many screens you look at every day. Your phone, your laptop, television. Every actor in every show you've streamed is now in your face library. Every influencer, every news anchor, every face in every thumbnail you scrolled past. For most of human history, you might have lived your entire life knowing fewer than 500 people by face. Now you absorb thousands of strangers' faces every single week. Your dreaming brain evolved for a social world of a few hundred people. Now it is being asked to process the faces of millions. Nobody knows exactly what that means yet, but researchers studying dream content have noted a striking pattern over the last 2 decades. The proportion of unknown faces in dreams has been creeping upward, possibly as media consumption has skyrocketed. Think about that the next time a celebrity appears in your dream. Your brain didn't conjure them from nothing. You handed them the invitation by watching them on a screen, and they walked right into your social rehearsal simulator. So what's actually happening when you dream in faces? 3 things all at once. Your brain is retrieving real faces from a vast unconscious archive, one you've been building your entire life without knowing it. It is compositing those faces, blending real stored elements into people who feel real but are technically new. And it is using all of those faces to run social simulations, to practice, rehearse, and process your emotional relationships with other people simultaneously. That person who showed up in your dream last night, you really did see them somewhere. Maybe on a street you walked down 5 years ago. Maybe in a video you opened and closed in 30 seconds. Your brain held onto them without asking, because it had to. Because for millions of years, knowing who someone was, even vaguely, could be the difference between life and death. Your dreaming mind is ancient. It is running ancient software on a modern world. And every face that walks through your dream tonight is evidence of that. It is evidence of how deeply social you are. Evidence of how much your brain values faces above almost everything else it processes. And evidence that even while you sleep, your brain is working, processing, sorting, preparing you for the social world you will wake up and walk back into. You closed your eyes, and your brain got to work. It always does. Every stranger in your dream was a real person once. Someone your ancient social brain refused to let go of.